I know it's not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm afraid this country's citizenship is exactly where it deserves to be because there's a lot of Americans that are just fucking lazy, and the rest, they're just complacent and self absorbed. And that's not to say there aren't a lot of hardworking Americans who go to their debt slave imprisonment every day and work their asses off only to come home and grab some dinner and plop a few hours in front of the blue hue and absorb all the garbage that they've created for you to consume. You see, these thieving narcissist elite, they work harder than the average American. They work long hours. They work till wee hours of the morning, almost nightly, coming up with new ways to steal your dream. You see, I'm going to say that a minimum of 80% of Americans don't even know who their fucking representative is, and they've never held them accountable. They don't even know what the issues are. But you know who does? The 20% that's paying attention. And of those, half of them are on their side. You see, they're counting on the fact that the average US citizen is just too self absorbed and too busy to hold them accountable for anything like the Epstein list or the JFK report or the 54 bodies tied to Bill and Hillary or the blood sacrifices of our children, human trafficking, drug trafficking, embezzlement, theft. But you got bowling on Thursday and softball on Tuesday, so we're real busy. America, we've already lost. And if you don't realize that, you're living in a dream world. When's the last time you were able to go to a privately owned grocery store and buy groceries or a hardware store and buy a hammer? They've already put them all out of business years ago. They corporatized everything and they own it and they control it. The necessities of life, our water, our food distribution, our electrical grid, everything you need for life, they control and they've weaponized it against us. And when we allowed them to inject the Fed, we handed them a license to steal. So the Fed can print money on demand, but only to loan us our own currency, while Congress can spend it at will, and we're held accountable for that debt. And banking, so for the privilege of doing business with them, they'll pay you 1 to 3% for the use of your money, but turn around and charge you 28% interest on credit cards and other loans. And the housing market, let's see, corporations own 80% of the private housing market. They have taken everything already, and you don't even see it. And since the injection of the Fed, we've no longer needed to buy war bonds. You see, America, when we didn't want to go to war back in the day, we simply didn't buy war bonds. But they've got the Fed to fund all that now, and they can scrape the coffers for hundreds of billions of dollars, which they do. Not only in defense contractors that they own, construction companies to go back and rebuild the countries after they've paid the bomb manufacturers to make the bombs and then destroyed the buildings so we can go back in and rebuild the buildings. They own all of it. And those who paid the biggest price for that war machine ATM in the last 100 years are American soldiers. I mean, some returned to not even having a home due to a natural disaster. And they got a $750 fuck you check from our government because they spent all the money importing illegals into this country, the worst criminals they could possibly find, and then turning them loose on our streets. And if you've been sucked into this days of our lives bullshit going on every day on the news, you're exactly where they want you to be because they ain't going to fix anything. We still got a further redacted list from Epstein, and not one of those pedos has been fucking convicted or even charged with a crime. We know for a fact that politicians all the way up to Biden received bribes, illegal funds into shell companies. Not a fucking person has been charged with anything. The list is beyond even believable, the amount of death and destruction caused in the name of greed by the American government. And yet here we still are. We have no funds, we have no jobs, we have no money. They control everything. It's lost. I'm telling you, it's lost already. Now they want to pick more wars with Putin or somebody else so they can send our children off to die again while they get richer. And we just let this cycle continue. And anyone that could still support either one of those parties, knowing that they're all on the same team, is just either fucking stupid or ignorant because they've clearly shown that when they mentioned they were going to expose the Epstein list, well, three senators must not have got the message because 91-year-old so and so, distinguished gentleman from Indiana or Iowa or some shit, and then two other Democrats, oh, they just knee jerk reacted. Well, you can't release that list. Anyone who's opposed to that, just fucking execute them right now because they're guilty. I'm sorry, not one fucking pedo's been charged, and there's never going to happen. You're never going to be told straight face who did the crimes, never going to be held accountable, never going to go to jail. They're going to live like fucking kings on hundreds of billions of fucking dollars made off of you and I, and there ain't a fucking thing you can do about it. You know why? Because most of America couldn't grow a fucking pear if you inherited an orchard, and that's just the way it is. So suck it up and enjoy what you have while you still have it, because you got a lot less than you think you do. Keep it real.